Hi, Shelley. Welcome back. How have you been doing since we met last week?
Pretty good. Not too bad.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Has anything exciting happened in your week? Tell me the best part of your week.
Um, Best part, we had a day off in the middle of the week.
Well,
That
that's
was a good
always
part.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
not
doesn't
bad.
happen often.
Uh-uh.
Well, um, so last time you were here, we were talking about the cognitive behavioral therapy theory, and we were discussing how our thoughts can really impact our emotions and our reactions. Um, have you been able to process that a little bit more or think about that?
Yeah. Yeah. I did give it some thought. Yeah.
Okay,
I was able to
so
kind of be more aware of thoughts I was having, a little bit more aware.
yeah, definitely. I know that when I start thinking closer to those things, my mind just starts picking them up right and left. It's kind of like I'm telepathic at that point. Um, so I know we talked about that a little bit. Are you feeling confident to kind of give that a shot? Are you nervous about doing that? Tell me how you feel.
Maybe a little nervous, but yeah, I would like to try.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think the first step, us working through it today, will really be able to give you a little bit of confidence towards what we're working through and how easy it can be and how simple it can be just to be more aware of our thoughts and how they're affecting our reactions and our emotions. And so, what we're going to do today is kind of take a look at some of those thoughts that maybe you felt this week, and then we will walk through what kind of emotions that brought out in us or reactions, and we'll try and take some first steps into intervening and taking a hold of our thoughts and capturing them.
Okay.
Um, does that sound all right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. So I know that you mentioned that you had been more aware of your thoughts this week after talking about the cognitive behavioral theory. So tell me one of those moments where maybe you were feeling a little bit down. Um, what were the thoughts that were happening in that moment? First, tell me the situation.
Well, remember last time we talked about there was another position opening and I had thought about maybe applying for it,
Hmm.
a new position at work. Um, so I did, but I didn't get it. Somebody else got it. And I just found that out in the last couple days. And I was kind of pissed off about that. And yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that.
Hmm. Yeah, that definitely can be really disheartening, especially if it's something that you felt like you're really prepared for. What kind of feelings did that situation bring out in you?
Um, well, I was disappointed, of course,
Hmm.
because I thought for sure I'd get it because I've been there for so long and I felt I knew the job and I was prepared, and so I was pretty disappointed at first. Still am.
Hmm.
Um I don't understand why the other person got it because she's not been there very long,
Sure.
and so yeah, I really don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that could be a situation that could be very confusing. And so I think that if we go ahead and complete a thought record around that situation and kind of walk through um, that situation and the thoughts that it made you have, um, and the emotions that it brought out, then we can work on some adaptive behaviors and get right into the cognitive behavioral theory. And that way, we'll be able to kind of, like I said, take a hold of those thoughts. So I gave you one of these thought records to fill out with me during the session. And I just kind of want to walk you through that. So um, in the first column, you'll see that we can put down the situation. So you can write something along the lines of did not receive the promotion, or something that could kind of revive your memory of that situation when you go back and read over it.
Okay.
Okay. Um, and so then in the second column, we're going to write down the automatic thought that we had about the situation. So you were discussing that you're kind of confused in the situation. You didn't understand why you didn't get it, but it really upset you. So can you kind of tell me what were some of the first thoughts that were running through your mind whenever you found out that you didn't get the position you were going for?
Well, I was told by my supervisor that I would probably more than likely get this position, and she's not the supervisor for this new position, but she thought that I would get it. And so I was really disappointed, and I don't know why she was telling me I was going to get it if there was a chance I wouldn't, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I was disappointed in that because I believed I would get it. And I just still don't understand why I didn't get it. They didn't tell me why, there was no explanation. So.
Okay. So do you think in that moment, and you can tell me if this is right or wrong, I'm just kind of guessing with the information given, were your thoughts that maybe there was something that you didn't know that held you from that position? Or there was something maybe they weren't telling you? What exactly were you thinking about yourself in that moment?
Well, just that they said I would probably get this position,
Mm-hmm.
and then no explanation as to why I didn't get it. So I'm still just kind of in the dark why I didn't get the job, since I was qualified, and they said you're very qualified for this and you've been here so many years and there's a good chance, so I don't know what happened.
Okay, so maybe you were feeling lied to or not worthy.
Totally not
That
worthy.
seems not worthy. That seems more
Yeah.
accurate to you.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So why don't you go ahead and put down in that second column that that situation had led to some automatic thoughts of maybe not feeling worthy.
Okay.
And again, these automatic thoughts are going to be the first things that pop in our mind in these situations, kind of the things that we go to. They're not things that really you can control. It's not that necessarily they're right or wrong. They're just the first thoughts that occur in those situations. How are we feeling so far? Is this
Good.
going okay?
Good.
Feeling
Yeah.
good?
Yeah.
Okay. The next one's a little bit easier because you've already touched base on this. So we're going to write in that third column, what are the emotions that this brought out of us? And you've said several times that you felt disappointed and even pissed off a little bit.
Yep.
So you were angry and disappointed.
Okay.
Okay.
Almost lied to too, or just kind
A
of.
little bit betrayed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Perfect word. Yep.
And again, these automatic thoughts and emotions, they're real to you. So we're not going through this chart to make you think that these aren't real, that you shouldn't feel this way. We're going through this to just have a better understanding of how our thoughts have made us feel, and if those thoughts were beneficial or harmful to us. So at this point, we're starting to get a better understanding of how that situation had changed your thoughts and your emotions. So now we're going to start thinking about how, if that thought was helpful or harmful to us, or how we could even change our thinking to create or display a different emotion. So let's talk a little bit about if there was any evidence to support your automatic thought to help us understand if it was helpful or harmful.
Okay.
Is there any evidence that supports that you were unworthy? Tell me about a time where you felt like it really solidified that you were worthless.
Besides this time, this time
Yeah.
really made me feel that way.
Well, what are some? I know you said that there's no explanation, and that can kind of make you feel worthless whenever people don't give you the time to let you know why you didn't get the position, knowing that you're probably
Right.
upset. And that can kind of make you feel worthless, I bet, to not feel worthy of even an explanation. So
Right.
I guess
That's true. Yeah.
that would be some evidence that might support that thought. Um,
Okay. Where do I put that? Is that in
um,
the same one?
let's go ahead and put that over in the automatic thought column, just at the bottom.
Okay. Evidence to support that I don't feel worthy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and let's jump over to the fourth column and let's write about some things. What would your family say about you?
Mm,
What would they say if they heard that you felt like you were unworthy?
they wouldn't agree with that. They
They wouldn't agree with
no,
that.
no, they wouldn't say I was unworthy. They would say I was worth getting that position, and I would be good in that job.
Mm-hmm.
They'd support me
And
for sure.
there's their opinions that you care about, right?
Yep.
Okay. So let's put
Yep.
that down in that fourth column.
Okay.
That your family thinks you're worthy.
Okay.
What are some things that you've done well at your job that you know made you qualified for that position, that you know you're not unworthy of it?
Well, I always meet deadlines and good at recruiting.
Mhm.
Um, I've never been written up for anything. I train other workers. So I thought that would all be positives for
For
getting the new
sure.
position. Yeah.
Those are all things that are difficult to find in good employees, and so, or they're difficult to find unless you have good employees. And so, let's write down some of those things that you're most proud of. To never getting written up, that you are good at recruiting. Um, you're a very consistent and loyal employee to the company, from what my understanding is.
I think so.
And so that would definitely make you worthy of that position.
Okay.
What other things could you think of that would maybe not support the automatic thought? What other reasons do you feel that you're worthy?
I just think I'm good at my job,
Mhm.
you know? My coworkers tell me I'm good at my job. I mean, there's never been a complaint that I'm aware of.
Mhm. So let's write that down. Your coworkers, the people that work with you daily, who know how hard you work, they know that you're worthy. They know that you are capable of that. Um, that you're good at your job.
Okay.
And so, what we're writing down here in the fourth column are going to be some of those adaptive responses that next time you think about the situation, or you get reminded of the situation that you did not get the position, whenever that automatic thought of I'm not worthy of it, I obviously am not deserving, whenever you have those thoughts, you're going to be able to be more aware of them. And we're going to look at what the outcome would be if we start practicing using these adaptive responses whenever those thoughts come into our mind. So, what do you think, just kind of predicting what the outcome could be whenever you have these automatic thoughts, if you were to replace those with any of these thoughts or adaptive responses that we put in the fourth column, what do you think the outcome will look like?
Using these
Mhm.
in the future. I think it's going to take some practice, but I think I'd be able to use these and feel better about whatever situation. is happening, when I don't feel good enough or whatever. I think it would help.
Do you think that some of these things listed in this column are going to be able to help you believe, or are they believable enough to where maybe you would be able to kind of work towards changing that thought process? Again, I know that you talked about this could be hard. It's definitely going to take some time, but as we continue to work on this and develop more adaptive responses and practice it, it will become easier over time. And we don't expect them to go away completely, but we do know that as you continue to do it, they will be less often. So whenever we start looking at that outcome, do you think that these adaptive responses are ones that you're going to be able to believe, or are they something that we need to work on in that fourth column to bring it up a little bit more believable for you?
What do you think? I mean, I'm looking at what I've written. That family and coworkers think I'm worthy, and I've had some good things happen at work. And looking over these, I mean, I still don't understand why I didn't get the position, but I know that I am worthy of the position.
Good.
I feel
Okay.
that.
Well, you just answered that question for me then. I definitely think if it's already starting to remind you that you're worthy, then we're on the right track to what our outcome can be. And like I said, I'm not expecting, and you should not be expecting these thoughts to completely disappear. However, I think over time, as you grow to learn how to take control of these thoughts and kind of change your outcome and your emotions and reactions, then they will lessen, and your outcomes and your automatic thoughts will be a little bit more beneficial to your emotions and your actions that you want to achieve.
Okay.
How are we feeling?
I feel better than when I got here.
Perfect.
I feel better.
Good. That's a good step in the right direction.
Yeah.
So last week, we talked about the cognitive behavioral theory, and I introduced the automatic thoughts, and introduced the idea of us looking at those a little bit closer. This week, you got here and we discussed a little bit about the automatic thoughts, and we jumped right into our thought record and looked at a situation that you had happened to you this week that had created some negative automatic thoughts inside of your head. And we looked at how we can throw in some adaptive responses throughout the next week to see a different outcome. So I want you throughout the next week to really be thinking about your automatic thoughts again, and what kind of adaptive responses that you can add to those situations. When it comes to the situation, I really want you to practice whenever you have the automatic thought that you're unworthy, to practice telling yourself the things that we have listed here in the fourth column about you, your family, your coworkers, everybody else believing that you're worthy and that you're good at your job, and remind yourself that you are worthy. And then we'll talk a little bit about the outcome and how that's progressing next week. I also want you to just on another piece of paper throughout the week, write down 2 to 3 situations, what automatic thoughts have occurred, and then try and figure out some adaptive responses. If you struggle on that part, when you come back in next week, we'll kind of go over that a little bit more. But I'm confident that you'll be able to do this because you breezed right through it today. So, does that sound like it is too much, enough, too little? How are
No,
you
I
feeling
think that's
about that
good.
homework?
Yeah, I feel good about it. Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to do that next week, definitely.
Okay. Well, I really want, I just want you to be aware that this process is just us being able to identify that self-talk that you have. What are you telling yourself? Just kind of see if there's any themes within how you speak to yourself regularly. And just so we can check in and see what your thoughts are. So we'll continue to work through these thought records and just kind of being more aware of those thoughts and responses and outcomes.
Okay.
But Shelly, I look forward to seeing you next week, and I hope that this week is successful for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks.